Mark, thank you so much. I am here with Robin Chase. She's the CEO of Meadow Networks. She's also a founder of Zipcar, and she's also the CEO of GoLoco.org. That's a venture combining online carpooling and social networking. So you're kind of combining a lot of things, aren't you?
It all has to do with transportation, solving people's major problems.
What do you think
are
the biggest major problems in terms of transportation right now?
People live in dense metro areas, which is a lot of people today, and if we look at the major trends, there's increased urbanization, so what happens in cities and how cities move people is a major issue. So for an individual, how do I get there quickly and conveniently? And how do I not spend 18% of my income, which is what the average American spends today?
Well, how do we get around that? I mean, you created Zipcar, and it seems to keep growing and growing and growing. I mean, what do you think is, in 5 years from now, kind of the model that we start to see around the country, around the world, maybe? If
we think about Zipcar transformed people's relationship with their car, and they realized they didn't have to buy it and own it in this big clump. You could just take a fraction that you needed. I think what we will see, courtesy of these smartphones, is that I will be moving my body in many, many different ways so easily. You know, I will walk, I'll take transit, I'll take a shared car, I will take a train. And for me to choose among those options will be trivial. You know, what's the cheapest, fastest method for this particular trip at this particular second? Today, we don't have that luxury. We're stuck with one option.
Robin, how much support needs to come out of the federal level to kind of make this happen? You smile.
I'm smiling because I think Zipcar has, in particular, been a darling because we didn't need any federal government support, period, right? So this was what the private sector could do without a speck of help. I'm thinking that there are other tweaks and solutions that will happen, but in general, we use cars, we overconsume cars because the price is way too low and they're heavily subsidized, and so that price, the price signals that we get as consumers, and that's how we decide to move, is largely set by the government that's choosing to subsidize or not subsidize different aspects of our economy.
Now, this summit put on by the Daily Beast, the Innovator Summit, and it's called Rebooting America. Transportation, I mean, specifically, what do you think we need to see happen in the next couple of years to kind of reboot transportation?
Some of this being discussed now, and I think would transform the game, and it comes, I hate keeping coming back to the car, but the way we finance our transportation infrastructure is through the gas tax, and the gas tax hasn't been changed in 18 years, which means that we're trying to pay for roads, bridges, and transit today with 18-year-old dollars. And as we get more fuel-efficient cars, those 18-year-old dollars are even getting less and less good. So to this piece of subsidy, I'm driving around and I'm thinking I've paid my dues, right? And as I say, I'm paying a tax that is a fraction, is about 15% of what it really is costing me to be driving around. If we could change that equation, we'd get a number of good things out of it. We would get a first world infrastructure, which today I was spending some time in Shanghai this summer, and it is shocking to see the difference between a first-class road, highway, subway, train infrastructure compared to what we in the U.S. have.
And that's what everybody says, but in terms of the infrastructure dollars that have been committed, what we've seen in something like China versus what's happened here, or lack thereof.
We only listening to talk about building new stuff to meet our growing and shifting population needs. Our roads aren't even maintained. Our bridges are falling down. I mean, we are so far behind. So when we talk about jobs, first job would be just bring it up to good repair. Don't even think about what's the right new investment, just bring it up to good repair. So I think that if we could put a better price on fuel, and on what it costs to really drive, that would completely shift where you work, where you build, how you choose to travel, where we want to make our future investments.
But is there any political will to do that?
You know, here's where I think that I realize this issue, and for me, I feel like this is what this Innovator Summer is trying to get at. The problem with transportation, other than things like Zipcar, which can happen in a short period of time, is infrastructure are big projects. You think about it today, and in 5, 10, 15 years is when the result of what you started today happens. So the bridge I'm looking at, you know, that's a 15-year project from the time it's an idea in someone's head. Or public transit or trains, or do we move lanes or building infrastructure. And that is the horror that I can tell you incredibly confidently. In 15 years, Americans are going to be begging, yearning, crying for alternatives to cars. And today, they are unwilling because they're thinking, I love my car, I want my car, and that's it. So I feel...
What's going to be the most viable alternative to a car, though, in your view? Is it train?
I think we will always be, I think it's going to be this multimodal mix. And today...
But it'll be more of a mix.
It's absolutely a mix. And we will never lose the car, because when I want to go from here to someplace that's off the transportation grid, that's far away, and I'm with my mom, and I broke my leg, and I have 3 kids.
Right. What am I going to do?
There's cars have beautiful locations.
Robin, I've got less than a minute, so I want to go back to Zipcar, because I think we know it. We see them around. Certainly, in New York, we see them all around and just outside the city. What do you think the future is of that model? I know you're not really involved with it anymore, but I mean, what do you think the future is of the Zipcar model?
I want to say car sharing is very, very strong, because when we come to this urbanization, if you think of a density of people in a city, you can't have a car and a car storage is enormous. So when you're not even driving your car, where is it sitting? And then when you do drive your car, it's taking space on the streets. So that categorically has to change. And also we see an aging population, and an aging population also can't be car dependent, as in there are no other options. So we really need to make our whole entire mobility lifestyle multimodal, so I can have choice.
All right, sounds like some interesting things to come down the road. Robin, I'm going to leave it there. Thank you so much. Robin Chase, CEO of Meadow Networks.